there could be a change in the axis to try to find a new axis where the weight will be stable around the world. In fact, our world has changed axis many times before. When you look at this mammoth, okay, we found the mammoth completely preserved in ice, okay. In the mouth it was eating grass, and then suddenly it was frozen, okay, completely preserved. Now, if you were eating grass at that time, the temperature must be almost 30 degrees Celsius, okay, in order to enable you to have grass, you cannot have ice. But then suddenly you're frozen, okay, and preserved. That means the temperature dropped to maybe minus 40, minus 50 degrees Celsius to be completely preserved like that. So in the past, we've had changes in the axis of the world. Well, if that happens, it's a great disaster. You can't say nothing happens to Singapore anymore. Okay, there'll be a big effect in the world. But fortunately, the world doesn't like to create a lot of disaster. So what will it do? Well, we live on tectonic plates. Okay, and the plates are now moving more rapidly in order to try to balance the weight. Okay, instead of changing the axis, which is a complete disaster for the whole world, the tectonic plates are beginning to move. So, for example, Singapore is right here, okay, Thailand is above here. We are part of the Eurasian plate, where there is a joint in the plate, okay. That's where you can have a lot of earthquakes. And you know the great tsunami that took place was because of the movement of the plates between the Eurasian plate and Indian plate. Geologists are saying the Eurasian plate is moving towards the east and the Pacific plate is moving towards the west. And you know where you have a joint around here, it's very dangerous because the plates are pushing against each other now. They have a lot of earthquakes. This is going to be a big problem. Tsunamis will take place. Here we have tourists. We take pictures at that time. Suddenly the water disappears. It moves into the ocean. So they were playing on sand, but suddenly water disappears. And these tourists, they're so curious. They're running towards the sea just to see what's going to happen. And this big wave comes in and they all die. Okay, over 5,000 people died in Thailand in the last tsunami. When the earth plates are moving, you start to have cracks in the plates itself. So in Thailand, I study more in Thailand, so I show you the map. We have all these cracks in the earth plates. So we are beginning to have more and more earthquakes. So what are we going to do about it? Well, first of all, we should all aim at zero emission in everywhere, wherever we are. Okay, reduce the effect of global warming. Okay, so here in our Sathya school, I told you we are fairly safe up because we plan that way. We know that the sea will rise. Okay, so we have a lot of farming for our children. Children learn to grow rice. We have to be sustainable in every way. And they're very happy. Look at them, they're smiling and laughing. They enjoy themselves, okay? The little ones, they love to go into the mud, okay? It's very enjoyable for them. We grow our own vegetables, all organically grown. We don't use chemical fertilizer in any way, okay? And we grow our own food for our own consumption. So whatever happens, we can exist. We are teaching children who are living in cities also, so they can grow inside in the city by using hydroponic. And of course, I encourage everybody to use bicycles instead of using motorcycles or cars. We have wind power, we have solar panels. We use that to produce electricity. And of course, the most important thing, which I like to end with, our children are all vegetarian. This is very important. You know, we can reduce global warming quite a bit. If you compare the food, okay, soy milk powdered to compare with milk powdered, okay, we have 41.8% protein compared with milk in the same state powdered, okay, 26.4%. From soybeans, you get a lot of protein from peanuts and so on, but look at meat, beef, chicken, and so on. It's only 20%, 18%, 16%, and so on. Okay, and you need more land to get the same amount of protein, livestock versus soybean. 17 times more land. That means you have to cut down trees to get pasture land. You need 8 times more water to raise animals versus growing vegetables and grain. And you know, in the United States, they feed grains to animals. Okay, and when you eat the animals, you only get back 10% of the protein that you give to the animals. You waste 90%. The solution to world starvation is given by many people. 80% to 90% of all grain grown in America is used to feed meat animals. If you reduce meat production by 10%, this would release enough grain to feed 60 million people. Okay? If people would consume 50% of the meat they normally eat, we could release enough food to feed the entire developing world. United Nations Secretary General Kurt Waldheim said the food consumption of the rich countries is the key cause of hunger around the world. But the main thing is, if we become vegetarian, we save our world. Okay, we reduce carbon footprint, and my other speakers, they are going to be talking quite a bit about this. So I'd like to stop here, just to give you an idea of what is happening in the world and how we could solve the problems around the world. Okay, so thank you very much.